Hi, everyone. I'm your host, Patty G. Russo, and this is Let's Talk Pets on Society Bites Radio. Today, we welcome back Kathy Pobloskie from Lost Dogs of America and Lost Dogs of Wisconsin. And in the wake of this worldwide coronavirus crisis, we want to talk about safety and the welfare of your pets and help you to understand how it affects you and the importance of having a preparedness plan in place in the event you or a loved one becomes sick or hospitalized and you need somebody to care for your pet. And during this crisis, what options might be available to help you maybe with temporary housing, food, supplies, or anything else like that. So welcome to the show, Kathy.
Thanks, Patty. Good to be talking to you, even in these trying times.
I know. It is something, boy. Nothing I ever imagined, but we thought it was important. I mean, we were going to talk about, Lost Dog Awareness, being that that's this week or possibly next week. I'm not really sure. Yeah. Depending on when we air, but this is more important because we don't know when this crisis will end. And sadly, we've been seeing people, surrender their pets and not have plans in place if they become sick for their, and need help with their pets, or they need help with food for their pets. There's just a lot of things going on. And so you thought it would be a good idea to talk about that.
Yeah. I thought it was kind of a timely topic because it's on the top of everybody's minds right now. And you're right. Lost Dog Awareness Day is coming up on April 23rd, but a lot of the things that, we would normally kind of plan and do are a little bit on the back burner because we're trying to, cope with all that's going on right now. So
right.
Everything from some of our volunteers being on the front line and actually having to step back from their volunteer duties right now because they're nurses or, EMTs and things like that. And just to the advice that we're giving to people, because our standard advice is not, something that's really viable right now.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I know some of our shelters or our hours of operation have changed. The way the reclaims for lost pets or found pets, I should say, are different. You have to make appointments. So I think that's making things a little tricky for some people. It's just the times are different right now. And so it's really important that people do have a plan in place. And I think also take extra special care to keep their pets safe at this time as far as wearing their tags. And, they can't go out and get microchipped right now, I'm sure, but they can put on their ID tags or their license tags, some form of identification if their pet gets out.
Right. Absolutely. That was, kind of like the number one thing is a lot of our vets, and I'm not sure what it's like there, but our vets here are really, they're doing routine things, but they've really changed the way that they operate. You have to sit in the parking lot and wait for them to come out and get your in. So I think it's making a lot of people hesitant to even do routine things at the vet right now because, they typically like to go in with their pet to the vet. So I think a lot of people would put off microchipping right now. But, putting a tag and a collar on is something that anybody can do. And even if it means just, writing your name and phone number on a piece of tape or something and wrapping it tight around the collar. That's the least you can do. It's just, it's just going to help.
Right.
It's just going to help get those pets back home.
Yeah, I know.
Have you noticed it?
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was
go
going to say, when this first started, the first couple of weeks, it seemed to us that we were getting way less reports coming in of lost dogs. And we thought, maybe this will be the silver lining of the cloud because maybe everybody's home with their pets and they're not getting lost. But now we've seen an uptick again. And we seem to be, I haven't checked the numbers this last week, but we seem to be running back about normal again.
Yeah, and we noticed the same thing. And I thought, sadly people are out of work, but it's good because the pets weren't being lost. And that lasted maybe a week,
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was worse than ever, it felt like. And I thought, okay,
Yes.
especially with the kitties, it was like we were finding, 5 to 10 lost cats every day. And I thought, well, cats can have their own temperaments. Were the kitties getting tired of their owners being home and decided to take off? I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't
Or
know.
maybe the kids being home and the doors, the doors being open and shut more often or something. I don't know. Yeah. But,
yeah, I don't either. Or they're letting them out and forgetting they let them out. Who knows?
Yeah.
But it does seem like an increase to me for sure. And I expected it to be the other way, Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So that was short-lived. We were very excited about that for a while, but that seems to have reversed now. So
yeah.
And
so
like you said,
things...
yeah.
Go ahead, Kathy.
I was just going to say that, like you said, like a lot of the shelters have different practices in place now. Ours are only open by appointment only. And I even heard one yesterday that would typically have never said this because they usually wanted all of the, found pets to go directly to them so that the owner has the best chance of finding them, are now saying they would prefer that the finder keep them in their home, which is quite unusual for us here. So.
Yeah. We put out a sign up to try to get more fosters because, with the shelters, maybe some of them aren't open and, like our SPCA and Humane Society, I think they're still taking some in, but it has decreased in how it's working or something like that. And so we've asked people to, temporarily foster while we look for the owners, so we don't have to work with the different situations that are sometimes too tricky as far as making appointments for people, and if they can just help out by keeping them safe, that really does help everyone.
Right. Yeah, I know it's kind of it's been unusual. It's certainly a different situation. The good thing is, I think, and I'm not sure, I think this is the same with you, but, other than the volunteers that have jobs that are in essential services that are having to spend more time doing what they do at work, we, basically what we do is mostly, via computer and phone. So it's not like it's really affected our ability to be able to help people. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, because, we mostly, thankfully, are able to all work at home anyway. So,
yes.
This doesn't affect us. And I think it's actually made us become a more important, I don't know, what do you say? Entity, I don't know.
Absolutely.
In our community to help out,
Yes, and absolutely.
I've noticed more interaction, I think, because people, there's not much other stuff to do. You can only watch so many Netflix shows and whatever else. So I have noticed, an increase of interaction with people, which is good. And I hope that they'll stick with it afterwards too, to continue to help out. But, one of the other things that we are really wanting to discuss here is the fact that, we wanted to talk about people thinking that they need to surrender their pets because, the pet's going to get the virus and give it to the owner. And, I looked up on the CDC website before we went online on today here. And, they do not have evidence that companion animals can spread COVID-19 to people, or that they may be the source of the infection. There is no evidence right now, and everybody's saying, well, the tiger, but, the virus has different forms, just like the flu does. And I don't imagine when they look into it that is that really the COVID virus that the tiger has. Who knows? But there's just so much misinformation out there right now that, we really want people to consider that you don't need to surrender your pet, and if you are in trouble as far as food or something like that, I've just seen people in some of the other groups, all they do is they ask quickly and everyone's offering to help them. So, all you need to do is reach out. Don't be ashamed to reach out because people want to help right now.
Right, exactly. I totally agree that that if you just ask, there's usually somebody that will step up and help.
Mm-hmm.
And and some of the we have a lot of pet food pantries that are operating here right now too. A lot of the shelters are actually doing that, where they're doing it kind of in their storage area, and it's kind of just the door is open, you go in and take what you need, and hopefully don't take too much, but because again, they don't want the social interaction, but they just want to be able to help people.
Right.
And a lot of our shelters here actually are down on the number of pets that they have in, because a lot of our shelters operate on getting transports from southern states. So they are transporting in adoptable dogs. And so they've stopped doing that because of the virus. And so they actually have, an overabundance of food. And so they're willing to donate to somebody that needs it. So that's really great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is. And, we have seen the same thing here, the food pantries, and even our shelter was handing out food the other day. So they've tried to empty the shelters and ask people, to foster, and they had a good success doing that. I think there's still some dogs that need some help with fostering, but I mean, overall, people have really stepped up, and the county just did a food handout for people that needed it. And I think, the help is there. If you really need it and don't know where to turn, just ask somebody and they'll help you.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. It is heartwarming to see that, same thing here, the foster homes have really stepped up. And what better time to foster a dog when you're home all the time, right? Or adopt a dog. Right. And I bet you a lot of those dogs that are, were considered to be temporary fosters will end up staying in that home, because the people now will become attached to them. And what a great thing that is.
I know. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping they're all foster failures.
Yep.
Yeah. We just placed one a couple of days ago, and we're pretty sure that one's a foster failure. So we were not able to find the owner. The dog had been found probably a month ago, and it was with a foster who could no longer hold it. And so we just moved it to another one, and it looks like it's going to be a foster failure. So that was
great.
Good. Yeah.
That's great.
It's a sad time for the dogs, and the ones that are out there in fosters, we sure hope that they get to stay there. So, but the other thing that I mentioned at the beginning of the show here was that if somebody does become sick and they do have a pet, that they really should consider now thinking of a plan. I just heard today, and I don't believe the man was sick with the virus, but the EMTs had to come to his house a couple days ago, and the dog went and hid under the bed, and it was just found 2 days later, and nobody knew it was even there. So, the poor little thing could have died. Having a plan in place, putting a note on your refrigerator for the EMTs, I guess they're trained to look. I don't know if that's true or not. I was told that, about there's a pet in the house, or put it on your door even,
Right.
So that somebody knows. You have to tell somebody, even if you don't have family members, and wherever you live, you must have a friend or someone you can depend on, that, if you got sick, heaven forbid, that, you have somebody and a plan in place for your pet. Yeah,
I absolutely agree. I mean, it's just so important to think about that beforehand, because you don't want to think, nobody wants to think about their dogs or cats ending up, in a shelter just because they get sick.
Yeah.
So
that's for sure.
Yeah, that's something that we've always done. My husband and I, we've always kind of had a plan, and we look at it, every couple of